Hi, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural edition of the YSN Coaches Roundtable. I'm DJ Yoakley, joined by Donnie Riccatelli on the other side, and we've got some great opportunities to meet some track coaches here tonight. Donnie, the first time ever that anyone has ever put a spotlight on track and field. Yeah. It's an awesome idea. These guys were all up for it. They're excited to talk about the student athletes. Talk to me about why this is so important to you.
Well, I mean, I'm a track guy at heart, number one. But when Coach Seipert reached out to me and said, "Hey, when can we do a preview for the girls and boys track programs for the AAC?" I said, "I'll get right back to you." So I reached out to you, and you said, "Tell me when and where are we?"
We're at the bunker, of course, here with great food from Double Bogies. You got to make it down here, right on the Southern Park Mall. A little bit hidden, but if you just keep on rolling, you'll find it. Big sign says the bunker. Yeah. And we're in the Lake Club room here at the bunker, and you got to try it if you haven't already. We'll be here on Thursday as well, having some fun with the NCAA tournament. But tonight, it's all business, or we think so. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. It's our first one, guys.
So it's the AAC edition, and of course, we have teams from Boardman, we have Canfield, and we have Howland. We do not have representatives from Austintown Fitch and Warren Harding. They were invited, just could not make it with all the things they have going on. So we miss them, but we will feature these four schools proudly and let them talk about their team. So, Donnie, without further ado, you want to lead this off?
Absolutely. So joining us today from left to right is Coach Rick Seipert from Boardman Girls. Boardman Boys is John Phillips. Nick Wagner from Canfield, who coaches both boys and girls, all 114 athletes. Howland is Logan Sheptalk and Danny Liebert for the girls. So, gentlemen, welcome. First inaugural meet and greet, preview of your season. I feel like the AAC is as strong as it gets as far as talent, especially in track and field. A lot of field athletes are really good in the AAC as well. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and go over to Coach Seipert to give a little preview of the girls program at Boardman.
We graduated a lot of seniors last year, and it's been kind of fun getting to know the new squad this year. It's been very weird though as well, because we had probably 10 girls that traveled all 4 seasons when they were on the team. So we're kind of just filling in all the holes, but we got a solid number this year. 55 girls came out. We've had some of the best practices we've had in my 8 years as head coach there. So I'm really excited to put all these pieces together. We should be pretty strong with the hurdle events. Gia Treveri made state last year in the 300 hurdles, and then she just made it in the 60 hurdles indoor. So she learned a couple new tricks in the off season there. Our 4x4, Mackenzie Riccatelli is going to be back. And then, we got to fill in some holes there, but I'd like to get that regional medalist or even a state bid with that 4x4 group. Same thing for the 4x2 last year. We just missed the regional final, and I think three of the 4 girls are back. So fill in some holes and just move forward from there.
Coach Phillips?
Yeah, on the boys' side, we have 61 boys out for track this year, which post-COVID is a pretty solid number since we lost our season in 2020, unfortunately. We have a number of returners that were in Columbus a year ago. We had the most athletes in Columbus last year than we've had since I've been the head coach at Boardman, and this is going into my 10th season, 11th overall. Our 4x1 relay team of Cameron Thompson, Anthony Hightower, Ben Alvarico, and Trey DePietro, they're all back. Logan Thompson, the 300 hurdles, is also back. He was at state last year as a sophomore. He's a junior this year. And we also have our shot put state All-Ohioan, Joseph Farah, in the indoor. Yeah. In 4 indoor meets. He finished at the podium at the indoor track and field championship, and he's certainly looking forward to outdoor track as well as Tyler Cherney, who also was a state indoor qualifier for us. So we have a lot of experience. We have good numbers in the junior, sophomore, and freshman classes, and we're certainly looking forward to get going. We also appreciate the coverage YSN gives us at our meets. It's great for our athletes. It's the exposure that they desperately crave for track, and we're very much appreciative of what you guys do for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Coach Wagner from Canfield.
Got to maneuver around those water.
First and foremost, thank you guys for doing this. This is outstanding that, as Coach said, to get the student athletes the coverage that they deserve. I mean, they work hard day in and day out, and thank you guys and people watching. Thank you for watching this and giving us the coverage here. I'm the head coach for both boys and girls. I think this is my third or fourth year doing that, but this is my 17th year overall at Canfield. On the boys side, we have a lot. We have 77 boys out this year. We bring back all 3 of our kids that qualified for outdoor state last year. Cody Piver in the seated events, Oliver Kovas in a long jump, and Nick Plant in the distance events. So
Who's that?
You can name the distance event. He'll run there. But, so we got all of them back, and then on top of that, getting a lot of kids out. Brock Lowry came out for track this year, which is huge for us to get him to do some high jumps and running. And then, the receivers followed, and so now we have a lot of football kids out this year, which is big for us, which, for any of the coaches will say, that's where you get these kids out and get them, competing in a different sport and really, adds to the track team and then helps them in football as well. A lot of kids in that. On the girls' side, we're young. I think we only have 3 seniors this year, 30 some kids there. But we bring back Jalen Palmer, who just missed regionals in the distance side. And, we got a lot to work on there, just being so young. A lot of freshmen coming up. Our junior high program's got a lot of 8th grade girls coming up next year. So, we look good in the future. It's just building that this year to keep working towards that, and having those seniors step up and do what they need to do.
It's phenomenal.
Very good. Coach Sheptop.
Thank you guys for hosting. Just like everyone else said, this is something that our athletes need. They need the exposure. And track and field has kind of been lacking that over the last few years. This is my 5th year as head coach at Highland. This is my 7th overall year. I'm coaching the boys. Coach Labert's coaching the girls. Just a little bit of a preview. We do have a small senior class. We did graduate a ton last year, so this is a smaller class for us. We only have 8 seniors. Looking for them to step up, and they really have. It's been awesome to see the way practice flows. They're just almost like second coaches now, but they've also been in the system for my system now for the last 4 years, and they see how it runs, they see how it goes, and it's awesome to see the way they've stepped up and led. We have a very, very strong freshman class coming in. They won the Trumbull County meet as 8th graders last year. Our sophomores, our juniors, we added a lot more numbers in. We got a lot more of the football guys out, just like Canfield said. So we have the numbers. We have right around 60 that we should fill all the spots. We have Connor Durig, who made the state indoor meet and got 4th in high jump. So looking for big things out of him. Another junior is Ben Bronson, one of our distance runners, hoping he can make it down to Columbus this year. We have 2 relay teams that are right on the verge of regionals, I would say, 4x1, 4x4. And lastly, we also added a seeded event athlete, Ryan Zollner, and we're hoping for big things out of him as well.
That's great. That's great to hear. Coach Labert?
I stepped back in this year as girls head coach. I had thought my head coaching days were over. Shep Talk took over for me when I stepped out, but there was a need for it, so I stepped back in. And we had a really solid girls team last year. Our field events is probably where we excelled. We had Courtney Clark, who was 6th outdoors and 2nd in the indoor states. Sandra Biggins qualified in the pole vault for us. We have a good young high jumper. We're still kind of on the young side. We had a good freshman group coming in. The rest of the team, I'd say, is just kind of solid anywhere. No superstars one way, but they all work together very, very well. It's been very well practices. Mr. Sheptalk has done an outstanding job since he's taken over, getting the kids to buy into the program, get them there for lifting. We have 40 kids, girls and 40 boys that show up for lifting, had them all winter. So he does an outstanding job there. And the kids are really buying into the program under him.
Oh, that's great. Speaking of, you guys have your studs out there, obviously in the AAC, there's talent everywhere, but give us a wild card. Give us some names that you think that this, for success to be had this year, who needs to step up in your program that you think, what you've seen early on and obviously track season just started, but what you've seen early on, maybe in the winter or something coming up. And we'll go reverse order back to Howland, if that's okay.
We have 2 young freshman hurdlers. I expect a lot from them. They're going to push the older girls. I think they may push a few of them out.
It happens.
So it's a good thing. I told them always I'm loyal to the watch. I like the one who runs the fastest, nothing personal. We have another shot high jumper, Alexis Solis, and we have Kyrie Matlock, shot and disc. We also have Maya Barish, who is a high jumper. So like I said, I think the strength of our team as far as outstanding athletes might be more in the field. I think Imogen's a good 400 runner. Overall, we're just, I think, a solid team.
Yep.
Not a lot of superstars, but a lot of solid kids are going to contribute. Look for good relays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with me. I think we're just a solid team overall. Some of the ones who I'm looking to step up this year who might be kind of wild cards for us is we got our starting center out, Grant Myers, to throw this year. This is his first year ever doing track. He's the biggest, strongest kid in Howland. And our star thrower last year just tore his ACL. He actually just made down on the state meet, and he got fifth. Yeah, Gage Gibson. So he'll be out all track season for us. So we're hoping Grant kind of fills the void of him. We have a lot of seniors who haven't had a ton of success, but we need them to step up this year. We have Caleb Badonic, who's going to be pole vaulting for us. Raiden Christensen, who's going to be running our relays and our 100 and our 200. Will King, who'll be running our 100 and 200 relays. And then lastly, Donovan Hazelhurst, who's our relay and then 100 guy. So
Nice.
Hoping to get some success.
Boys and girls, coach.
For us on the boys side, I mean, we just have so many new athletes. It's one of those things where, we did time trials today and we're encouraged by what we saw, but kind of the wild card, I guess, out there from coming back from last year would be Blake Baker in the distance. He did really well, made it in the 4x8 for the indoor state with that crew and a 2-miler for us. But Danny Inglis, a running back for Canfield coming out, he looks, could be a wild card for us. AJ Murphy in the throws, lineman for the football team. So any of those guys, as well as any of the distance. I mean, we have so much depth in the distance. Ryan Bennett may, come out and he's been running really well, or Jason Hammer. So we got a lot of kids that, with depth that'll really help us, especially with the relays, not having to have a kid run 100, 200, 4x1 and 4x2. We can kind of plug and play a little bit and not have to do that every single meet.
Yeah.
On the girls' side, like I said, we're just so young this year. Brinkley Bear has done really well in the 8th grade. We're hope that can translate up to the high jump, for high school. She is one that could do well for us, and a lot of different girls that could come out, whether it's field events or sprints. I think sprints, will be a little better this year with some of our younger kids.
Nice. Coach Phillips.
We graduated a lot of distance runners last year, and so the opportunity for some breakthrough is going to be in the distance areas. We have an outstanding freshman in David Del Torio, who was on his way to Columbus for cross country. Unfortunately, got injured during the regional meet and didn't quite make it. But for a while, he was the number 1 ranked freshman in the country, I believe, definitely in the state of Ohio, early in the cross country season. So he has a very bright future. Daniel Lasivita is also a distance runner as a freshman that has a chance to make some noise this year. Andrew Yoakum, who's a junior this year, he also has the opportunity in front of him to now kind of break through where, the last couple of years he was behind a lot of guys. So we have some of those athletes on the distance side. And then the sprints the same way. We're very top heavy in the sprints, but we have some young guys who have, really worked their way up. Joel Cuevas Pixley is an example. Aiden Berg is another one, a sophomore who had an outstanding freshman year. It's going to be tough to break through with the seniors that we have in the sprints, especially in our sprint relays, but the opportunity will be there for those guys. And, if something were to happen, they're ready to step in. Brady DePietro, who was unable to compete last year due to a injury sustained during basketball. He's out for the first time as a high school student. He was a middle school all-state athlete when he was in 8th grade. So we have some guys, some wild cards that, a lot of folks may not know the names of quite yet, who will have the opportunity, this spring, to make some noise, and that will certainly help us. We graduated, 2 outstanding pole vaulters, a regional finalist in the pole vault. That's wide open. If somebody wants to be a varsity athlete, pole vault's, the route. I was trying to sell that in the off season. Same thing with high jump and long jump. We had some turnover there, and that's going to be areas where, guys can step in right away, make an impact and for our team and, put us over the top. So, there's going to be some opportunities. It's going to be interesting to see who steps in and fills those voids.
For our girls, we're going to be leaning on our veterans that are coming back. We have Lauren Barrow in the distance events, Mackenzie Riccatelli mid-distance, 200, 400, Sarah Blasco, Gia Treberry. They're going to be anchoring us in the hurdle events, and they're going to fill in with as many of the sprint relays as we can get them in. On the throw side, Maddie Smith's going to be throwing our disc, but we're sophomores throughout the entire events. Bella Martin came out from the basketball team, so as soon as and so did Sarah Barrow. As soon as the two of them learn the events, I'm sure Pelini will have them checking the implements pretty far sooner than later here. Haley Hill will be back in the high jump and the pole vault. Incoming freshman Sophia Martin was an 8th grader that made the middle school state meet in the high jump, so we should be pretty strong in the high jumping event this year. In terms of sprints, our Destiny Hayes will be back, and then all the 8th grade girls that are coming in, they were pretty good in the sprint events last year. I'm pretty sure their 4x1 did not lose too many meets last year, so it's an exciting group to start working with this year. I know we're going to be very, very young. Just with the senior class that we have right now, only 3 of the girls consistently traveled with us. So we were young last year, and then we just got to get the rest of them to cut their teeth. Morgan Ock's going to do a lot of good things for us this year. I mean, we have some girls that are going to become household names pretty soon here. So I'm excited to see how all these things come together as the season goes on here.
Great. So I'm excited about this next question because obviously COVID changed the face of your programs in one way or another. For the guys side, obviously it's an easy recruitment tool to use the football coaches and use it nowadays. But I'm interested to hear how you utilize that. Obviously, Nick, when you talked about, the football, you have Brock Lowry coming out. Usually when a quarterback goes out, his receivers, his running backs will come out too. How do you utilize that on the female side? You know what I mean? Because there's not a apples to apples sport to do that. And, getting kids to run for fun after post-COVID is a little bit more challenging. So we'll start down here in Boardman. If you could just address kind of your recruitment tactics.
Getting girls out. Well, I'm like, excuse me.
We have water and sriracha fries for you.
A lot of yelling at practice, and the cold hasn't done much for my voice today. Excuse me. I'm lucky enough to work in our athletic department, so I go to a lot of volleyball games, soccer games, basketball games, and so anywhere I can find girls doing their athletics in like the fall and the winter, I spend time there and just kind of scout things out.
Probably a big cross country fan too.
Yeah, I help out the Spartan Invitational every year. I'm one of the guys that helps put the whole meet on, along with everybody else in the staff there. So, but I've been fortunate to do that job because I get to meet girls, on that level. Like, hey, great soccer game today, great basketball game. Why don't you try track? And then I just talk to them in the hallways. Get to know kids. I mean, 99% of coaching anyway is relationships with kids. If you have good relationships and you show them that you care a little bit in a genuine way and actually mean it, kids will do pretty much anything you want in that case in a good way.
I like it. Coach?
No, on the guys' side, I have to credit Rick with being a tremendous outreach to our football kids. He got our current group of top line sprinters to come out that were all football guys and committed to just doing the football thing in the spring. And it made our year last year to get those guys out. It put us over the top. It made us compete with Fitch and able to finally get them after so many years of being in the league with them. And I credit him and his ability to do that for our program. It's also nice to have John Pelini, our throws coach. He's a middle school football coach. So he sees those kids in 7th and 8th grade, establishes a relationship, and those kids, enjoy playing football for him, and they want to come throw shot and disc or run track because of that relationship. So between those two guys, they've really done a lot for me personally. And I'm very grateful because it certainly made our boys program successful. With COVID, it was an excellent question how we've rebounded. You definitely can see the hit that it took. Us going from an average of about 80 to 85 guys down to the low 60s, which is unusual for us. But one of the things I like seeing is our 7th and 8th graders come out for practice every day when we start practice, and their numbers are the highest they've been in 3 or 4 years. So the sport is bouncing back. Yeah. Losing that season really did an impact on everybody. Last year, track started, Coach Cyper can tell you I was panicking. I'm like, oh my gosh, we only got 65, 67, 70 guys. How are we going to run against Fitch and Glen Oak and all these teams? And then I talked to other coaches at Fitch and Glen Oak and Massillon Jackson, and they were like, oh yeah, our numbers are way down. We barely got 55, 60, 70 guys out. So I didn't feel so bad.
Right.
But it was a shame that the sport had to go through that, unfortunately. But it appears that, Canfield certainly has bounced back. It appears that Howland has as well. And we seem to be bouncing back also. So that's been a good thing for our sport.
Awesome. Coach Wagner?
65 boys. I mean, we were 65 total last year girls combined. So, we definitely didn't have that last year. But, I will definitely say, unfortunately, I'm not in the building. I don't teach at Canfield. So, having Coach Holmes now in the building, she's teaching in the high school, and one of our assistant distance coaches in the high school, that's huge to have them. Like Coach has said, to get the kids out, see them every day. The relationships is what matters with the kids. And, to have that is also working with, Coach Pat for football. The football kids come out with us, 2:45 to 3:45, and then go lift, with him after. And then the linemen, lift with him first and come to us after, because, facilities and whatnot, we don't have a ton of throwing rings, so they got to come out after middle school practice. Working with the middle school too is big, having practice at the same time. Our coaches can see those kids, can make sure, they're still interested in it and still want to come out. And then, just being around them, they understand in the next year, hey, these are the same coaches that were with me last year. So they know who we are, what we expect, and what we do with that. So, on the girls' side, I would say just definitely having coaches in the building, getting them out, and just going to different events as well, having them, the coaches there. We have a swim coach who's the same distance. So she sees those kids and gets them out as well. So just, recruitment is just kind of being in the building with them.
Yep. Coach.
Going to answer for myself and kind of Coach Liber a little bit. We teach in the building. We teach right across from each other all day. We're in the hallways where we're just like, hey, why aren't you running track? Why aren't you running track? Why aren't you running track? And Coach Liber coaches the boys and girls cross country, so he gets all those distance athletes out. I coach football, so I get most of the football guys out. We run a good, pretty successful program in the winter. The kids have fun with it. They enjoy it. They enjoy lifting. We try to make it upbeat. We try to make it interesting. We try to make it fun. So, and then that just rubs off, because then they tell their friends, and then they tell their friends, and then we're getting more and more all the time in. I also work a lot of the events at Highland. So not only do I see them in the hallways, I teach them, I coach them in multiple sports, and now I'm running the score clock at a soccer game, or being on the sideline for like a junior high football game, or running the shot clock for a basketball game. So I'm always constantly with them, always. So that just helps, because it's just constant contact, and I kind of get on their case a little bit more and kind of be like, hey, why aren't you here? Why aren't you at practice? Who's this kid? Bring him out. And that's kind of how we keep our numbers pretty high, and just try to make it as enjoyable as possible, because it is a grind. It really is a grind. So you beat them down one day by running them really hard. The next day you got to try to build them back up again and be like, hey, this is why you should be enjoying it. This is why it should be fun. This is why. And I think over the last 4 or 5 years, our numbers have really went up a lot, and I'm hoping that trend continues as well. So
that's a funny thing. Parents don't realize the long days that you put in, and those long days turn into long weeks, long months, long years, obviously. And then next thing you know, Coach Libert's been here for almost 2 decades, you said? 3?
I started coaching at 18.
Oh, wow.
I coached wrestling for 40-some years.
So you're 29. That's what it's done to
That's
you?
wow.
I'm 62. So.
But it sounds like involvement and relationships is where it all kind of settles, and getting these kids to believe in not only the program that you're building, but also you as a coach, as an individual. So, I mean, that's, kudos to you guys for putting in the time, the years, and obviously the success is mirrored. So congratulations.
One of the things you were talking about, getting athletes out, and the girls is different from the boys. The girls, you'll find them in the soccer and the volleyball team. I'll find my field event people, my jumpers, my throwers, they're on the volleyball team. I find the sprinters and the hurdlers, those are the girls on the soccer team. And those sports always want them girls with them. And so that is a constant battle with us. Like, hey, I got to go to soccer practice. We're like, we'll work around you. Come here, get here. And we go, we need you at the end of the year. As long as you can be here at the end of the year, we'll work with you. We'll get you here. And like I said, Mr. Sheptalk was doing the boys, semi the girls over the last couple of years. And I got to work on the girls because they all run over him to tell him everything. I said, hey, I am the girls' head coach. Come talk to me. But the kids like him. I think they'd rather talk to him than me. So he does do a great job. He's a great pipe piper. He really has got the interest in the school up.
I think it's his beard. He's got a really nice beard.
He's got that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that Coach Liebert mentioned, our kids at all our schools are involved in so much.
Yeah.
You know, we have kids in the band, the orchestra, plays, doing multiple sports at the same time. And so one of the things that I've learned over the years, I'm sure all of us have, is the compromise aspect.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it's easier at certain times in certain places than it is at others, but you have to this day and age. You know, kids are getting spread so thin. They're involved in so many activities. You know, everybody wants their program to be successful. You know, the basketball coach wants to be the best in the league, best in the area. So does the football coach. So does the baseball coach. So does the track coaches. And so understanding that athletes, you know, need their rest. You know, they need their time, schoolwork, the other activities they're committed to. That's something that over the years, I think we've all had to kind of grow. It's not like the good old days where, you know, you played football from here to here, and then you played basketball from here to here, and then you ran track from here to here. There's so many other things that our athletes are getting involved in, programs, AAUs, Junior Olympics, all that stuff. And so you want to do what's best for the kid at the same time what's best for your program, and that sometimes is a difficult thing that we all have to deal with.
That's a great point.
We're the third spot. We're the third sport usually.
Yeah, it's tough.
So you got to compromise.
It's always tough that sport right before a break. You know what I mean? Because everybody's kind of looking forward to that break, and all the big stuff happens at the time the kids are getting out and thinking about their summer break as opposed to state championships. So kudos to you guys once again. We're going to take a break. When we come back 2 minutes, we're going to talk to these coaches, ramp it up a little bit. Donnie's got some great questions. We return right here on the Coaches Roundtable right here on your Sports Network.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense, to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the bunker here on the Southern Park Mall, the campus of the Southern Park Mall now, because it's starting to really take over Boardman a little bit.
It really is.
All the great new businesses here. And one of them, the bunker, the next one, Double Bogies, which, let me tell you, we have done a number on this dish here. This is the what, sriracha fries?
Sriracha fries, baby. Man, they're so good. I'm eyeing those zucchini fries over there too, though, Coach Phillips.
But you're leaving the calamari alone for me, so
I'm
I
not
appreciate
a seafood
that.
guy, so you're good.
I love that. We're here with some of the best track coaches in the business here in the AAC, representing. We've had a good time so far, answered a lot of our questions, but we want to hear from you. So make sure you drop a question or two in the comments so we can get it to these coaches and really feed the experts. But without further ado, part two, Donnie Riccatelli, take it away.
All right, Deej. So I've always been, obviously, I'm a huge track guy. I mean, it was in my blood. I grew up in McDonald, Ohio. So I always thought, like, you know, when I would show up, McDonald was like the greatest thing ever. We would beat everybody. But no, now that my daughter's in the AAC and I see these big schools and what real times look like and everything else, I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, okay, we're not that fast. So speaking on that is there's so much talent throughout the AAC. Why do you think, especially in this area, why do you think you guys are such a strong league? And you know, obviously Austintown and Harding aren't here to talk about that, but they're two really big schools, really big parts of the AAC as well. So, Coach Sipe, why do you think that's such a big thing with the AAC?
Well, I think we're really fortunate that kind of all of us got together. It's a bunch of good coaches. Like, I mean, first rule or first criteria for me to be a good coach is, are you a good person? And I think everybody that we coach with and against in the entire league, they're all a bunch of good people that are able to form good relationships with their athletes. And again, that's half the battle. On top of the fact that they're all good people, they're all really good coaches too. I know Canfield always has great athletes. Howland's kids are always well coached. Fitch is who they are. Harding is who they are. But I mean, we were very fortunate to go up against very good coaches. And like for John and I at Boardman, we know who we're going up against on a week-to-week basis. And if we don't bring it and have a good plan, it's over. So we have to make sure we step our game up every year.
Yeah.
Just for this season, about 10 days after outdoor season ended up last year, I started reading books and just checking new things out just to see what went well this season, what went poorly, and how can we get those poor moments to a better place. So it's always just trying to evolve what you're doing and make sure it's like the best possible product you can put out there, because you're going to get it handed to you if you don't.
I think, you know, all of us come from schools that have a lot of pride and tradition. You know, I learned from Dave Pavlansky and Denise Gorski. I mean, those are two of the best in the business ever, all time. My dad was a track coach at Lordstown High School for a long time. I consider him the best in the business. He taught me, you know, got me interested in being a track coach. Frank Roddy, who coached the girls at Lordstown, you know, coached forever, built a great tradition out there. So, you know, those are four names that I look to as mentors. Brian Gorby, the YSU head coach, a neighbor of mine, so every time, once in a while, I'll see him running in the neighborhood, and if I ever needed to pick his brain, he would certainly help me with whatever I would need. So very fortunate in that regard. Being at a school like Boardman takes pride. There is a lot of pride in our program. Our alumni, they stay in contact. They want to know how we're doing. There's probably some tuning in right now, hoping I don't screw up or say something stupid. But it's something that I've always been impressed with. I was a student at Boardman, and I never ran track, which is kind of, people are shocked when I say that, but, I was always a sports guy, a sports junkie, but I just was not athletic. But, I credit, those guys, especially my dad, for getting me involved in track. But, you look at all our schools, all our schools have tremendous pride in their programs. They're always well coached. Charles Penny at Warren, Seth Steiner at Fitch, Nick Logan on the boys side. We have outstanding coaches in this league, and Rick is correct. If you have an off day, you're going to get beat, and you have to be on your game. We have tremendous pride in our school and our program, but all these guys do, and Seth and Charles as well at Warren and Austintown. That's what makes our league unique. We came from the Federal League; it was the same thing.
Right.
It was dog eat dog. Every program had to be on their A game. Excellent coaches. And it's one of the things that I enjoy about this league. It didn't skip a beat as far as the coaches and the pride and the tradition of the programs go, coming from the Federal League over to the AAC when we did that years ago.
Kind of piggyback, coaching for sure. Coach Holmes is on staff. She ran at Boardman. Coach Bajelic, he was a head coach down in Cincinnati for track years ago. So, we have the high quality coaches, again, on all the staffs, and we care about the kids, and when it comes to, what makes this conference so great, you look at the seeded events. You guys had Micah last year. Howland has an athlete this year. We've had a couple athletes, so the seeded events, something that the kids can compete against each other in that as well. That's just something that you don't see in many conferences where there's more than one team that has that. I think there were only, how many seeded athletes were there in the state last year? There were less than 20 maybe in the whole state, and 2 of them were in the same conference, and same thing this year. 2 will be in the conference again. So, you don't have that, throughout the state. And that's something that, really, track is something in our conference that, like Coach has said about the pride. I mean, everybody wants to go out, but the thing is the coaches all want what's best for the sport and want what's best for the kids. We could text each other anytime, kind of make sure that, whether it's a meet or whether it's whatever is in the best interest of the sport and of the kids in the conference.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also going to agree that the coaching is just unreal. When I first came to Howland, I came from a smaller school and learned from Coach Liebert, learned from Coach Tommy, who's also on staff. Coach Tommy invented track in like the 1900s, so he's been around forever. But the coaching aspect is great. I'm going to build off what Coach said too, is just having YSU around, like, and running those indoor meets and seeing the success that they have. They've won how many championships in a row now, indoor and outdoor, and just the kids seeing that success, and that's their backyard. Like, they know if they're successful, they can go there.
Right.
We have 3 kids right now on YSU's track team, and now we're starting to build that program up and up and up, and they're starting to see, like, all right, well, Maria had success and now she's there. Molly had success and now she's there. And it's just such a cool thing. And then to build off what everyone else says is we recruit to get all the kids out that we do, and put the time and putting the effort in and working together and understanding that it's not coaching how it used to be. You kind of had to bend backwards a little bit more. You kind of got to be able to share a little bit more. And I think that's why our conference is so successful, is the coaching aspect is great. They have opportunities to go on to the next level, and just the camaraderie and being able to work together. And it's just, when I started coaching the AAC, I was like, wow, this is legit.
The real deal, right?
This is the real deal. Absolutely.
Well, I'm an Austintown grad, and I ran for Coach Garcia, and they don't come any better than that. So that was, I had a great mentor when I was coming through the program. And I look at Boardman and Fitch as not just good local teams. I look at them as powers in the state. They can run and hang with anybody. So when we got into the league, I was in Canfield, we both could have, we got to run Fitch or Boardman, or we could step up and get better. And I thought as a team, we've stepped up and got better and become more competitive because of Fitch and Boardman.
Yeah.
And I just kind of think that's the mentality of our kids. Hey, that's what we got to run. We're going to show up and do it.
So I have an interesting one. We talked about this a little earlier because the success that we've seen in wrestling through our schools. We live in an uber competitive area of Ohio, right? Because all of our teams, it seems like, are all in the green arrow up. Where is track and field? Are we in drive? Are we in neutral? Are we in reverse? Where are we in compared to the rest of the state? Coach Louder, I think it'd be great to start with you because you have the experience to talk about.
Fitch and Fordham have always been good, and that hasn't changed.
Sure.
They've changed coaches, but they're still powerful programs. I think we're getting better as in Canfield. They're making us get better. And, hate to say it, but in Trumbull County, we're the big school over there. It's just us in Warren. And we kind of like running in Trumbull County times. That's where we have the most success.
Yeah.
But we get humbled by Fitch and Boardman all the time. So I think it's constantly getting better. I know just on the distance side from cross country, you guys had a distance cross country state champ. We had a 2-miler state champ, and now you guys got the best half-miler in the state. And that's over the last 5 or 6 years that's happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, statewide, even our distance programs are competing with everybody.
And I think it's to a point now, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, when they see Youngstown, they're not surprised we're there anymore. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'd completely say we're in drive and we're moving forward and we're getting better. And I understand it's not like how it was in the 80s when we're graduating thousands of kids per class, but we're getting all the athletes out and we're getting the most out of our athletes. I mean, just going to the state indoor meet a few weeks ago, we're all there. It's like almost like a hometown meet for us because we were all there. Going down to Columbus, all the coaches are there. So it's not like any programs are getting left out because having success at every level is kind of what everyone's been doing. And I don't see that slowing down at all. I don't see that stopping. I don't see that coming to a halt. I just see it moving forward more and more and more. And the more kids we get out, the more we get out of them, it's just going to get better and better, I think.
Yeah, when you look at Nick Plant, I mean, people aren't surprised to see him on the podium anymore. He's really put, Canfield back on the map and track, and others seem to be following.
Absolutely. We've been very fortunate at Canfield. I was able to be on staff when we had Dustin Brode back in 2010, state record holder in the shot put. Now we have Nick. These are athletes that, again, are pushed by the other programs. They're not just, he comes out and he's just that good of an athlete right away. He was going as a freshman against kids from Boardman, kids from Howland that were pushing him to get better each week and each year. And, that's something that's a testament to this program, all these programs. But definitely, when you talk about Youngstown, you look at our region. If you make it out of our region for track, you got a really good chance. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but I like to say it's like 90% or better of placing at state, because it's just, we are so good in our region. It's just so hard, to get out of it, to get to that next level that then you go to state and you do well. And, Coach touched on me indoor state. I think all programs in the AAC were there and scored at least a point, whether it was boys or girls or whatnot, at the indoor state meet. So we were all there. We were all, showed up for it, and we all scored points there. So, it's definitely something that, in this region, in Division I, we have that Division II, III, McDonald and whatnot from there. You definitely have the, we see each other at the Pullen Invite or the Optimist meet, so we get to run against each other, all three divisions, to push each other even harder.
That's interesting. They called it the meat grinder in wrestling. If you get through Northeast Ohio, the meat grinder, you got a good shot at placing downstate. It sounds similar to track and field. But the interesting thing for me is I keep hearing Boardman and Fitch. They're the gold standard, right? Is there a pressure there to continue that, to maintain that, and to keep leveling up?
I'm a little embarrassed, but I appreciate the compliments from our rivals. When I started coaching as the head coach, we were in the Federal League, and Glen Oak was the team, and it was us and Glen Oak and Massillon Jackson beating each other over the head. The years that we were in the Federal League, and our dual meets and our conference championship was a war. And by the time we got to districts and regionals, quite frankly, we were out of gas, when we got to that point, because our league was so tough. And I always looked at Glen Oak, they're the measuring stick. What do we got to do to close the gap between us and Glen Oak? Sure. Come to the AAC, now it's Fitch, and they've had a program that, I tell Seth all the time, I'm envious. They have the resources, the commitment, the tradition. They've got it all. They check all the boxes. When you think of a track program, it's Austintown Fitch. And, for 10 years, I've tried to, close that gap and try and get, to be on the same level as them. And in the last couple of years, we have been, and I credit our coaching staff and our kids, because it was not easy. It's very difficult to become close, be even with a program like that. And that's something that, I constantly, look at, what are they doing versus, what are we doing? So you talk Ohio as a whole, though, when people think of track and speed, and they think Florida, they think Texas, they think Georgia. But, we have Nick Plant, the fastest 800 guy in the country, and he's right down the road in Canfield, Ohio. Justin Braun down in the Columbus areas, going to USC. He's one of the fastest kids in the entire country. He's probably be in the Olympics one day. These are Ohio kids. And I think Ohio gets overshadowed a lot, and it's unnecessary because we have a lot of talent, and I think we need to sell track a lot better than we do, to be quite honest.
Abby Steiner from Kaufman, she was a 2-time indoor 200 champion. She's an Ohio kid too. So, I mean, Ohio track is really good. Northeast Ohio track is really good. I mean, just like I hold the 400 near and dear to my heart, and I think our region went 1, 2, 3, 4 in the girls 400 last year. I mean, you have to be good. And like I said, if you're not trying to get better, you're going to get left behind very, 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 very fast, especially in Northeast Ohio. I mean, our local programs and our conference especially are very good. Like we just went down the line and talked about several recent all Ohioans in the past couple of years here. But I mean, that stuff's been going on for years with us. But I mean, there's lots of all Ohioans in this region, and we just have to be like our best every time we go out there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was very cold regional finals, but to watch the AAC represent the way that they did on that night, especially as cold as it was pretty spectacular. But speaking of meets, we're gonna skip the second to last question. But speaking of meets, what's the one meet other than a district or regional that you guys eye on the schedule that's a must have? You must be there. You got to see there's a certain runner you want somebody to go up against or whatnot. So what's that one meet? We'll go with you, Sipe.
I really enjoy the Euclid relays. There's a little bit of something for everybody up there. Typically it has good field, extremely fast sprints, and then there's always really good mid-distance and distance. I know the staff there always tries to bring in even individuals from other schools. I think last year they brought in the girl from Hawken just to run the mile and the 2 mile there to give the D1 runners a taste of that, and then her a taste of the D1 runners there. And then, like I said, the quarters are near and dear to my heart. And Jessica Beard went to Euclid, and she's an Olympian in the 4, all like going to worlds, still in her 30s.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I mean,
I like the Euclid relays because of their hot dogs. Fantastic. best hot dog in the state of Ohio, I promise you.
Usually during meets, I'm a little too nervous to eat that kind of food.
I'll eat one
I'll
for
take
you.
Your word for you. I can have mine this year when we go up there. But yeah, you find out really quick, and it's right before regionals too. So, or right before districts and the postseason stuff starts. So, if there's something that needs to be done before you get to that postseason, like add in, well, we're fast, but we're not strong. We're strong, but we're not fast. You can tweak your training at the end of the season and really make sure you get those things in there that you need. I think we saw Euclid there, Princeton, Mentor. I mean, we saw a lot of really good schools there last year, and I think that really helped us put us over the hump, and we got there where we need to be last season. Hopefully it works the same way for us this year too.
Nice. Coach Phillips?
For me, it's Glen Oaks Invitational. It's in right smack dab middle of the season, and I have a lot of respect for Scott Farrell, the head coach at Glen Oak, I should say. From our years in the Federal League, he was a great guy, great coach, great program, and I've always enjoyed going there and competing against his kids in the Federal League schools and the schools that he brings in from all across Ohio. It's impressive. So that would be one that I think it's April 16th this year. That's definitely one that I have highlighted on our season schedule for sure.
That was a no doubter.
Yeah.
No doubter.
No hesitation.
We went from a no doubter to kind of, I guess, go around the question in a way.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is, we vary our schedule so much, depending on, spring break. We have a lot of kids that leave at spring break. So it's hard to go to a meet such as that in the middle of April when a lot of Canfield kids are going to siesta.
I'll be there
if
too.
we could, I'd love to go down to siesta and have a meet down there because our kids always go down. I mean,
Kids
why
playing
not?
Myrtle for baseball and softball.
Why not? I mean, just 114 kids, that's a lot to take down there. But, so those meets are tough. Any conference meet, really. I mean, as we talk about how competitive this conference is, whether it's a Tuesday meet or the conference meet, you're getting great competition with it. But I would say any relay meet. We love our relay meets. We vary between Lakeview. We went to Orville last year. When Girard had it, we went to Girard. We've been to a lot of different relay meets, Marlington. So the kids love relay meets. You get some different events in there, shuttle hurdles, stuff like that. The throwers 4x1, can't forget about that one. They love that. But so any relay meet, I'd say, it doesn't have to be a set one, but the kids really enjoy and have fun with relay meets. So that's one that we love to attend.
I like it.
That's great.
I do enjoy the Tuesday meets where we get to compete against each other in a kind of a different light. But if I have to pick one meet, and Coach Library is going to agree with me on this one, and it's definitely the Trumbull County meet. I know the Mahoning County meet runs a little bit different, but the Trumbull County meet's a 2-day meet, and it's ran so well. You have like all your prelims and everything are on Tuesday. You get a nice day off in the middle, then you come back for Thursday to finish out the week and hopefully go home with a trophy, depending on if it's the right year for us or not. But the competition level there is great, and we don't get to compete against Trumbull County schools very often because we're always coming down to Canfield, Boardman, Fitch. So besides Warren, we don't see any of those teams ever. So getting to go there, and it's right in our backyard in Lakeview. It's 5 minutes away on a bus ride. So it's a cool meet. It's a hometown meet, and it's always nice to be able to have bragging rights in your county. So.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's the county meet for us. And there's 19 schools in Trumbull County. I mean, at least 19 schools, and there might be some Procos in there. And you're going to find good kids at every school. McDonald's always going to show up ready to run. I mean, they're the returning champs right now. Don't ever underestimate those guys because they're smaller, because they're outstanding programs. McDonald, Maplewood. There's always some sprinters out there. I kind of told him, when he's coming in, I go, look, we're going to battle Fitch and Boardman, but we're going to need all the stars to align for us to win the league. I said, Fitch and Boardman, we're going to have the right guys in the right place, and Fitch and Boardman and Warren are going to have to be a little bit step off for us to get the championship. But I go, we can win the county every year. That's the one that we want. So, yeah, it's a county for me.
I like it. I mean, that's all I got, man. How about you?
I'm good too. I mean, I really appreciate you guys taking the time coming out, and I'm telling you what, this has been fantastic to hear about all the success of your programs and the fact that you guys get to talk about your programs in this kind of setting with your fellow coaches of the league. So we greatly appreciate that and hope that you guys have a successful season.
Yeah, we are super grateful that you guys came out on a Monday. Is it Monday?
It's March.
It's
Madness
Monday.
week. I don't know what it is.
They all blend together in March, so it is a Monday. You guys taking some time out of your schedule, greatly appreciated. And to talk about your kids, I'm sure they're at home blushing because they're not used to this. And we're looking to feature your kids more with player profiles. And Donnie's going to get out, and we're going to do some track for you this year. So we're excited about that. So thanks for your commitment to YSN. It means so much to us. A few people we definitely want to thank: The Bunker for hosting us, and of course Double Bogies for, again, this unbelievable food. If you haven't been here yet, you need to come down and feed your face because it's great. Not probably the stuff you want to do before a track meet, but if you're a spectator like these guys here,
I'll do it before a track meet.
Let's go. When we're talking about hot dogs, we got fries, sriracha fries, and we got all kinds of stuff here. Stop over before a Boardman track meet or whatever else. We want to thank our assistant general manager, Quinn Pushkar, for running the 1s and 2s for us today. We got our general manager, Steve Leslie, back there, making sure that everything runs smooth as well. Back home, we have Brian Scott, our co-founder. Thank you for him to making sure everything goes smoothly. I want to thank you, Mr. Donnie Riccatelli, for lining up the stars, as Coach Liebert said, and the stars of our coaches. So appreciate that. On behalf of all of these gentlemen, my name is DJ Yoakley. That's going to do it for the first ever Coaches Roundtable right here on Your Sports Network. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network.